Welcome to this part of our propane burnisher operation class. Now, in order to run your propane, you first need to use an AutoScrubber and clean this VCT floor. Now, whether you've been cleaning it all the time or not, or how long it's been since it got cleaned, is not the issue. Every time before you run the propane, you must clean the floor. Now, for this machine, you fill it up right down here. Use whatever neutral cleaner that you have. Make sure that it's diluted correctly. Now, for this machine here, I'm using a cylindrical brush machine. It's got two brushes that rotate in the same direction. If you're using a padded machine, whether it be rotary or oscillating, make sure you've got a clean pad. Now, what do you do? Well, how do you do it? I'll show you that here in a moment. If you've never ran an AutoScrubber before, this black tank on this machine is the solution tank. The yellow tank is the recovery tank. The pad or brush, whichever your machine has, is going to do the scrubbing. And then you see the squeegee, that's that part right back there. That's going to pick up that solution. Now, once that you've cleaned the floor, there's a number of choices that you can have. And some people will put a restorer on the floor. And in some cases, you then put the restorer into the machine or you mop it on the floor. Now, the restorer must be dry before you run the propane. Now, in all cases, always clean the floor first before running the propane, whether you use a restorer or not. So, stick with me. I'm going to show you how we run the AutoScrubber, move the propane out of the way, and I'll show you how we do this. Okay, for this machine, it's fairly simple. It's all manual control. We simply push down on this bar here and drop the brushes down. We have a water control here. I'm going to turn it about halfway on. And we have a squeegee that drops down like that. Whenever I turn this on, brush is going to go and we're going to clean the floor. So I'm just going to clean the floor. If you've never used one before, just watch what I do. Now, a couple of things that you might have noticed. I turned the water control off before I made my pass coming back. The reason I did that is because the cylindrical brush will hold water in it. And if you just shut it off and lift your brush up off the floor, then what's going to happen? It's going to drip. So I'm going to run the brush a little bit more, make sure I spin all that water out. Now, if you have a padded machine, whether it be oscillating or rotary, it's going to do much the same thing. So my advice to you is to turn off your water, spin all of that water out of whatever the head is on the machine, and then that way you don't have this dripping when you either take it from your work area or whenever you park it in the closet. I'll show you about the squeegee here in a moment, but I'm going to spin that water off, dry this up just a little bit more. I'll show you how we remove the squeegee. So this is one of those places where a lot of people don't do this. Now, before I remove the squeegee, one of the reasons I like the cylindrical brush machine is because those cylindrical brushes fling all of the water, dirty, clean, whatever water, off of the brush. If you have a padded machine, whether it be oscillating or rotary, you probably need to change that pad or check the pad at least once a week. Now, if it's cylindrical, you don't have to do that, but you do need to clean the deck around, that's that part right up there, that black part there that houses those brushes. You probably need to clean that every once in a while to make sure that it's not built up and gets hard. Anyway, one of the things that you need to do every time that you take it to the closet is take off the squeegee. Now, on this machine, it's fairly simple. You're simply going to take the hose off, and I have a little button here, and the squeegee slides off like that. Now, why am I doing that? The reason that you're doing this is because the squeegee is the most important part of an auto scrubber. I don't care what the head is on the machine, this is the business end. It's the last piece, and it picks it up. Now, if this squeegee is damaged right here, it's not going to work. How do you know if it's damaged? How do you know if it's not clean? How do you know these things if you don't take it off? So here's my advice for you. Always, always, always take the squeegee off of the machine before you park it in the closet. So folks, if you go to get the machine, it's in the closet and the squeegee's on it, chances are the last person didn't inspect it. So how does you as a supervisor know? Well, hey, if you go into your mop closet and the machine is parked and it's on the charger, guess what? It shouldn't have a squeegee on it. There's a holder that should go on the wall or a shelf, put it up there. That way it has to be put on, inspected, and taken care of. That way, when you go to use your auto scrubber, it's going to do the job it's meant to, because I've got to have a clean floor before I can run that propane. Now, I want to show you something else that I noticed while I was running my auto scrubber. And this is part of running your auto scrubber, is that you're going to inspect your floor to make sure it's safe before I run the propane. Hang on, I'm going to get my other camera. I'm going to show you what that is. It's right down here. You see that damaged tile? Well, the broken one and the one that there isn't any. Well, here's the problem with that. What happens with that is that can become a projectile underneath the pad of that propane. We don't want that. So you do not run a propane over that. One of the reasons why I like a cylindrical brush machine whenever I'm cleaning the floor is because it doesn't care about that. It doesn't wrap it up. It won't pull it up off of the floor. It just cleans right down in there. As you notice, that was clean around that. So anyway, I'm going to get this out of the way. We'll reset. I'll show you how we operate, start, operate and shut off the propane.